Now in his third term, New York's senior senator has worked tirelessly on behalf of Binghamton University and our entire community. Prior to becoming U.S. Senator, he served in the New York State Assembly for 6 years and also spent 18 years in the House of Representatives. We appreciate all that he does for our campus and are thrilled he is joining us tonight to help us send our School of Management graduates out into the business world. Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Charles Schumer.
Well, thank you, President Stenger. And first, let me congratulate you for the great job you're doing here at BU as president, and to all of those on the faculty and the staff, all the way down to the people who keep the place clean late at night. You have made BU and its School of Management one of the finest institutions of higher learning, not just in New York State, but in our whole country. So job well done. Congratulations. Well, it's my honor to address the members of the podium, the parents and friends of the graduates, but most of all, you, the class of 2014 Binghamton University, congratulations to all of you. Now, first, I'd like to announce my class gift. As you know, it's hard to pay for both college and graduate school. And if you're poor, the federal government helps you out. That's a good thing. But what about the middle class? So I wrote a law, it's now on the books, that says you or your family, whoever paid for college or graduate school, can take a tax credit of $2,500 off your federal taxes for each year of college or graduate school to help defray tuition, provided, there's always a provided your family income is below $200,000 a year. So, for those of you who come from families below $200,000, make sure you take that credit. For some people, it can be a deduction of up to $4,000, actually. But actually, a third of all people entitled to the credit didn't take it last year. So don't forget to take it, and if you've forgotten your previous years, either in college or in graduate school, you can actually file a form with the IRS for the 3 previous years if you've forgotten them, and actually get a check back of up to $7,500. So that's not too bad a class gift. Now, what happens if you make more than $200,000 or come from a family that does? God bless you. I'd also like to say a word to the parents here. I know how you feel. It was just a few short years ago, my wife Iris and I sat where you did and watched our daughter Jessica come up on the platform and get her diploma. It was one of the greatest days of our life. And if you're like us, you probably think back to the more difficult times. We remembered when Jessica was 4 months old, we had to rush her to the hospital with 106.5 fever. We didn't think she'd make it, but praise God she did. We remembered when we put her on the kindergarten bus for the first time. And as the bus pulled away, she ran to the back of the bus waving goodbye, tears streaming down her little cheeks. But at 2 o'clock, when Iris went to pick her up, she bounded off the bus happy as could be, saying, "Mommy, I came back." When we talked to her, we realized she thought she was being put on the bus and seeing us for the last time. You know, new neighborhood, new school, new everything. Then we remembered Jessica as a teenager, where she didn't say much to us. And when she did, we didn't understand a word she said. And then moms, dads, you see your sons, daughters get those diplomas and become an adult before your very eyes. Congratulations, moms and dads. Jobs well done. And just one final little note of praise before I address the graduates. As we're here on this beautiful evening, and it's a happy occasion, there are men and women throughout New York State, young men and women in our armed services overseas, risking their lives to protect our freedom. Let's have a hand for them to show them we remember them. So, to this great class, BU 2014, you are graduating with 2 big advantages. One, you've gotten an education that is just the top. Only about a third of all young men and women will graduate from college, your peer group, and most of those who do don't have as good an education as you. So you have a real leg up educationally. And second, you have another major advantage. You are the first generation to be born into all of this new technology. The first year the word internet was used was 1988. Maybe that was the year a few of you in graduate school were born. There was no Facebook and no Google and no Twitter, no email, no texting, no LOL. In 1994, when most of you were toddlers, the World Wide Web had 12 websites. That's it. Now it has 14 billion. So that shows you how quickly the world is changing. And you know, your parents, your teachers, me, the older generation, we try to understand and work with this technology, but it's hard for us. We were brought up and learned in a whole different way. But for you, it's in your bones. You've been doing it for your whole lives. So technology is to your generation like water is to a fish. You've been swimming in it since you were born. And so because you have such a good education, and that gives you a big advantage, and because you're the first generation to grow up amidst all this technology, it means one thing. Now is the time, if there ever was one, to reach for your dream, even if it seems hard to get there. Then reach deep down inside yourself. See what you're made of. My advice to the class is very simple. Go for it. Now, sometimes you'll make the wrong choice, but if my experience is any indication, you'll pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and move forward. But if you make the right choice, with a lot of hard work and a little luck and some prayer, your life will be enriched forever. Now, I learned these things myself. When I was seated at graduation from college, as many of you are today, it was about 40 years ago, I learned that I had won a scholarship to travel all around the world, all expenses paid for a whole year. For me, it was the opportunity of a lifetime. I had never been out of the country before. But at the same time, I met a girl, and I fell in love. Aww. Well, I had to choose. Do I go around the world for a year on the all-expense-paid scholarship? Yes. Or do I stay home with the girl? No. Should have listened to you. I stayed home with the girl. No, don't clap yet. The story continues. That summer, she went on a brief vacation, and I went to the airport to meet her on her return. As soon as she got off the plane, I saw by the look on her face something was wrong. She dumped me by Labor Day. There I was. No scholarship. No trip around the world. No girl. I said to myself, what a loser you are. You'll never become anything. And in fact, I stayed in my house for several months, moped around, felt sorry for myself. But somehow I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and moved forward. And a few years later, I found myself seated at graduation once again, this time from law school. But on the way home from law school, I told Mom and Dad I was not going to join the fancy law firm like we had planned. I told them my dream was politics. I wanted to run for office, even though the chances of winning were remote. Well, my parents were shocked. My mother was particularly disappointed. You see, they struggled to send me to college and law school. My dad was an exterminator, never went to college, and the law firm was paying $400 a week, which was more money in those days than my family had ever seen. But my dream was to run for office. So that fall, at the age of 23, I ran for the New York State Assembly, and I had 3 opponents. There was the party machine candidate, there was a neighborhood activist, and then there was my mother, who was telling all her friends not to vote for me. So as she said, I'd get this dumb idea out of my big, thick head. Well, graduates, a few years earlier, nope, I didn't get that girl. But that November, I won the election. So, to this great class, BU 2014, go for it. And when you have doubts, and we all have doubts, that's the human condition, that's how God made each and every one of us, you're not unusual when you do, maybe you'll remember this poem from Rudyard Kipling called If. He wrote it to his son over 130 years ago, but it's relevant to every son and every daughter this afternoon. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken and stoop and build 'em up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on a turn of pitch and toss, and lose and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings but not lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all count with you but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. He wrote it to his son 130 years ago. It's relevant to every son and every daughter of this great class, Binghamton University 2014. To the class of 2014, congratulations, good luck, Godspeed, and don't forget, go for it.